His name was written in blood. With every scream, with every ruin, a whisper rose, ARES. The gods branded him the symbol of evil. But no monster is born that way. ARES wanted to be accepted, to be honored, respected. He never found his place. While his siblings were exalted, he was left alone, excluded, belittled. That loneliness transformed him into a creature molded by the gods' hatred. ARES was the son of Zeus and Hera, born of Olympus's queen and the king of the heavens, yet never their pride. To Zeus, war had two faces, Athena, who fought with wisdom, and ARES, the son who spilled blood in rage. Athena was the triumph of order and reason. ARES was chaos and savagery. Zeus loved order. In his eyes, this unruly child was a failure. A god should not be like that, least of all his son. So Zeus shouted mercilessly, "I hate you!" Everyone had a place on Olympus. Athena with wisdom, Apollo with art, Artemis with the hunt, Hermes with cunning, and ARES, a symbol of fear and bloodlust. The gods despised him, made him a joke. Those who saw him felt not respect, but hate. Contempt drove him toward darkness. The son who craved acceptance became the one even his brothers mocked. Inadequacy turned to a desperate need to prove himself, and the more he tried, the more they laughed. ARES hardened. He became a killer who hated everyone. He didn't want to be hated. He wanted to be honored like his siblings, to hear Zeus say, "That is my son." So he spilled more blood, wrought more destruction, believing power would bring respect. But each victory brought only more scorn. Every triumph pushed him farther from the gods. At first, his rage amused them. Then the laughter died. As his screams filled the battlefields, ridicule gave way to fear. ARES was no longer a joke. He was a threat to Olympus itself. His brothers, his father, Hera too, turned against their own blood. He suffered in solitude until one day he mistook fear for respect. Eyes turned away. Voices fell silent. For the first time, he felt powerful. He wasn't loved, but he was feared. And to ARES, fear felt more real than acceptance. That lie darkened him further. The more savage he became, the more blood he spilled, the stronger he believed he was. War was no longer a tool. It was the meaning of his existence. Hope of love faded. Now he wanted one thing, to make Olympus kneel. This was the beginning of the end. Then the Trojan War erupted. Swords clashed, cities burned. ARES felt at home. Blood, screams, chaos. This was his world. When he descended onto the field, the Trojans found courage. The god of war was with them. But for the Greeks, even his shadow was a nightmare. Hearing his name meant defeat before battle began. He walked like death itself. One swing of his spear, dozens fell. He raised his shield. Sunlight turned blood red. Screams, horses' cries, steel on steel, all drowned in ARES' fury. At times, he swept through like the wind. At times, he struck like a storm. Where he passed, there was no order, no hope, only shattered bodies and helpless prayers drifting upward. From the peaks of Olympus, the gods looked down. ARES' blood-soaked wrath had turned the earth to hell. Athena shook her head. Apollo closed his eyes. Even Hermes fell silent, and then Zeus's voice shook the sky. "ARES, you are the god I despise the most." Silence spread across the heavens. The gods knew that hatred had sealed ARES' fate. Those words burned into his heart. No one on Olympus embraced him again. A chasm opened between him and his kin. In every eye, he was a monster. Loneliness became his only companion, gnawing at his mind. Each victory bred more contempt, each outburst more exile, until he faced the bitter truth. No matter what he did, he would never be loved. Madness followed. He no longer lived to fight. He fought to subjugate Olympus. He understood at last. No one there would love him. His father hated him. His brothers despised him. The rest looked away. Mercy, love, acceptance, all had only carved wounds into his heart. So he strangled those feelings, one by one. He chose fear over love, hatred over acceptance. Every blow, harder, every scream, bloodier. Evil became his only refuge. Ares was no longer just a god. He was the living shadow of death. War became an obsession. Mortals' blood no longer satisfied him. He craved more, greater victories, kings, armies, cities, mere toys. Breaking them felt like breathing, but mortals weren't enough. His hunger grew. He set his sights on Olympus's throne to crush his brothers, even his father, and rule the gods. Fear was his weapon, rage his armor. He marched an irreversible path to paint the world and the heavens in blood. As his ambition swelled, he sought not only cities, but goddesses. He chose the fairest of Olympus, Aphrodite. This was no pure love. To Ares, Aphrodite was a victory to crown his power, a challenge to the gods. I will take what I desire. They met in secret. Ares' blood-stained hands wrapped around her. Passion burned, born not of tenderness but of greed and darkness. Even love became a battlefield, and the scandal would be immense. Hephaestus, consumed by jealousy, laid a trap, chains hidden in the bed, a plan to catch them both. Night fell. The trap snapped shut. Aphrodite writhed in the net, but Ares tore free and escaped. At dawn, Hephaestus summoned the gods. "I caught them," he cried. But Ares was gone. Only Aphrodite remained, bound in chains. Laughter roared across Olympus. Aphrodite was humiliated, and Hephaestus disgraced by his own scheme. Ares watched from afar, pleased. The pain of others had become his only pleasure. Now he was felt not only on battlefields, but in Olympus's palaces. The Aphrodite affair sent a message. If he wished, Ares could shackle beauty itself. Everyone understood. No one was safe. Not mortals, not immortals. In Ares' eyes, every god was a potential victim. Every goddess, a victory to display his power. He wielded fear like a blade and sent a single decree. All will kneel in my shadow. He no longer skulked in darkness. He strode into the palaces of Olympus, seized sacred treasures, holy relics, each theft a warning. You will fear me. He wanted mastery not only of war, but of the gods' sacred things. And the mortals, they suffered too. No armies to hide behind. He burned cities with his own hands, slaughtered the innocent. Every step written in blood. Every scream another triumph. From mountain peak to valley floor, one truth echoed. When Ares comes, no power stands. His name reached every hall, even the golden tables of Olympus. Whispers rose. We must stop him. Even Olympus isn't safe. At the sacred feasts, when his name was spoken, laughter died. Uneasy glances took its place. No one felt safe from his wrath. One day he plundered Apollo's temples. The next he stained Poseidon's honor. Each strike thinned the god's patience. Ares was no longer merely a god. He was a shadow that shattered Olympus's peace. To mortals, his presence meant death. To gods, an unending nightmare. His name was everywhere. Mortals stared at the night sky and prayed in fear. Will he come for us tonight? Altars smoked with sacrifice, but the prayers that rose were made of terror, not peace. Olympus was no different. At every gathering, one name echoed, Ares. No one found rest in his shadow. The gods begged Zeus, you must stop him. With him abroad, neither heaven nor earth is safe. Zeus burned with hatred for his son, but one truth remained. Everyone wanted Ares gone. The whispers swelled. We must destroy him. How long will this madness last? They shuddered at his very name. All wished for his end. None dared begin it. Ares was no ordinary enemy. He was war and bloodlust made flesh. Even Zeus, for all his hatred, hesitated to strike. And so it became clear, Ares was no longer just a god. He was the nightmare before which even Olympus bowed. Then Ares heard the prayers of mortals. No one praised him now, no one sought his help. Their words held only fear. Gods, keep Ares far from us. His eyes turned to his own sons, Deimos and Phobos, fear and panic given form. In their gaze there was no child's trust in a father, only terror. In that moment, he understood. Hatred had not made him strong. It had stolen who he was. Anger had hollowed him out, leaving an empty shell. Shame washed over him. He passed sentence on himself. Exile, to the wild lands of Thrace forever. There, in solitude, he became a god condemned to oblivion. And those who mocked and despised him, his family, the other gods, breathed easier at his absence. Yet deep down, they knew. They had helped make him what he became. Fearing his return, they hesitated to speak his name at all.